What's up, Mavletic lovers and listeners, and welcome back to a new episode of Maverick Postgame. We've got another full show for you today as Mesa football goes into double time.
And the men's soccer achieves a dominating victory.
Plus, a tough loss after a close game from our women's soccer.
And the hockey team pulls an amazing win.
All of that and so much more as we move ahead into this recap-packed episode of Maverick Postgame. So with that being said, I'm your host, Grace Metcalf.
And I'm Stone Quinn.
Let's get into all the game-breaking stats, off-the-wall wins, heartbreaking losses, and in-depth analysis of our CMU athletics. Roll it!
Hello everyone, once again I am Stone Quinn.
And I am Grace Metcalf. Let's hop right in and take a look at all the Mavtastic action that took place this week here at CMU. Last Saturday, the Colorado Mesa football team wiped a 21-point first-half deficit to force overtime, but eventually fell 42-34 in overtime to rival Western Colorado on Saturday, October 1st evening in a cool and rainy Stalker Stadium in RMAC action. Western Colorado jumped out to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. The Mavericks got on the board with 12 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the second quarter when redshirt senior Isaac Mestas scored on a 3-yard plunge. The touchdown run capped a 13-play, 75 yards drive that chewed up 5 minutes and 35 seconds of game clock. Western answered back immediately as Victory David took the ensuing kickoff to the house of a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown to give the Mountaineers their lead back at 21-7 with 12 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the half. The Mountaineers would build their largest lead of the game with 1 minute and 11 seconds to play in the half as Davon Butler would take a handoff and go around left end for an 8-yard touchdown run. The play capped a 7-play, 64-yard drive to make it 28-7. Just before the halftime break, Karst Hunter found Keenan Brown on a 35-yard touchdown pass to cut into the Mountaineer lead with just 7 ticks left in the half. Brown contoured himself and ended up on his back, and after the referees conferred for a couple minutes, they ruled it was a good catch and score to make it 28-14. Karst Hunter started the second half comeback with a 1-yard rushing touchdown with 3 minutes and 31 seconds to play in the third quarter as he capped a 12-play, 75-yard drive. After the WCU field goal, the Mavericks answered right back with a score of their own. Noah Soria hauled in a nice touch pass from Karst Hunter from a 34-yard touchdown catch with 5 minutes and 36 seconds to play in the game to cut the Western lead to 31-28. After a little bit of a surprise on sidekick, the Maverick defense stuffed the Mountaineers to force a Mountaineer 3-and-out and a Mountaineer punt that would give the ball back to the Mavericks with 3 minutes and 47 seconds to play and the ball at their own 10-yard line. After being stalled on first and second down, Hunter hooked up with his receivers again for 2 big chunk plays. He hit Whitmer on a 23-yard pass in 3rd and 8 and followed it up with a strike to Keenan Brown for an 18-yard gain. The Mavericks had 3 shots at the end zone with 14 seconds left in the game, but were unsuccessful. They settled for a Lucas Diaz chip shot field goal to tie it and force overtime. The two teams would trade field goals in the first overtime segment before the Mountaineers scored a touchdown on their second offensive series of the second overtime. The Mavericks were stopped on their series of plays and with the game ending on a ball slipping through a receiver's hands on a rainy evening. As a team, the Mavericks finished with a season-high 563 yards of offense, including 336 through the air, 227 on the ground. The defense limited the Mountaineers to 346 yards of offense.
Locked in a scoreless draw at halftime, the Colorado Mesa men's team turned a corner in the final 45 minutes, eventually routing Adams State 5-0 to snap a 4-game winless streak. 5 different Maverick players found the net, while goalkeeper Diaz Chavez kept a clean sheet in the first start of the season. The first half was a statement, as CMU held Adams' statement without a shot on the goal, but only managed one of their own. Although forward Alec Fronapple did hit the post just 3 minutes into the match, Talon Bronson's 38th minute attempt was stopped by ASU's goalkeeper Logan Russ Basca, the first save of the afternoon for either goalkeeper. After halftime, however, it was all Mavericks. Colorado Mesa scored 5 goals in just 6 shots attempts, all of which were on target. Moses Maggins got CMU on the board just 90 seconds into the second half. Maggins, a redshirt sophomore midfielder making the first start for the Mavs, recorded his first goal for CMU in his 5th appearance in a Maverick uniform since transferring from Mount Vernon Nazarene. Redshirt sophomore forward Joey Joyner made it 2-0 in the 60th minute. The Mavericks continued to pile on the match's final 15 minutes, getting a goal from Alvaro Pera in the 75th minute, just a minute and 20 seconds after the midfielder was substituted into the game. As a team, the Mavericks dominated in all statistics, having 5 of their 7 shots met the back of the net with the win. The Mavs improved to 6-4-1 overall with a 2-2-1 RMAC record. Adams State remained winless at 0-11-1.
The Colorado Mesa women's soccer team had an upset loss after a close game. Regis defeated Colorado Mesa 3-2 from the Regis match pitch in Denver, with the Rangers scoring all 3 of their goals within 5 minutes of either of CMU's 2 strikes finding the net. Off a ricocheted throw-in, Deary ran to a loose ball and passed to midfielder Peyton Bundy, who chipped a 1-2 pass back in Deary's direction. Deary stuttered, stepped, and took one touch to control the bounding ball, then unleashed a 30-yard laser on a half volley to open the scoring on the 17th minute. Both teams attempted 9 shots in the first half, with Regis putting 5 on target to CMU's 2. Deary got her record-breaking opportunity 4 minutes into the second half when Addie Randall was fouled in the box to give CMU a penalty kick. Deary placed her spot kick perfectly into the top right corner, putting it past Martin, even though the Regis keeper dove the right way, but once again, Regis had an immediate answer. 2.5 minutes after the Mavs tied it, the Rangers regained their lead. As a team, the Mavericks managed to obtain more saves and corners within the game. However, they fell short on shots and somehow gained 14 fouls. The Mavericks have lost 3 straight and now sit at 4-6-1 overall and 2-3 in the RMAC.
CMU hockey got back into the habit of winning with 2 wins against UCCS on the road, moving their record to 5-2 on the season. The Mavericks won the first game 12-4 with a strong performance. In goal from Chris McElroy, Larry Simmons scored a hat trick, while Brian Sutterly and Alex Elective each had 2 goals. Game 2 went to the Mavericks 7-3 with Eli Wilson notching a hat trick. Evan Wagner, Colton Warzer, Seepers, Ben Pedigo, and Larry Simmons added single tallies. The Mavericks get their first weekend off of the season this weekend before heading on the road to take on Air Force October 14th and the 15th.
Now that we have recapped some of the games, it's time to announce our Maverick of the Week. Our Maverick of the Week goes to Lila Deary. Lila has become CMU's leading goal scorer. She officially achieved an important, albeit expected, milestone by scoring both Maverick goals in Sunday's game. Deary reached 37 goals in her already illustrious career, passing Tiffany Thompson for the most in Colorado Mesa women's soccer program history. Congratulations, Lila, for your outstanding performance. You are our Maverick of the Week. We are now at the end of our show, and it is time for our closing statements. My closing thought on how close that football game was last weekend. We were right there on the field and saw how the Mavs were 1 yard away from a touchdown within the last 14 seconds of the game to gain the win. But it was cool seeing them go into double overtime. It just would have been nice to see a win finally. Although the lightning all around in every direction off in the distance made the game a really cool experience.
It was really an exciting game to watch, and it really had me on my toes. My closing thoughts are on all the sports. We have been competing on Saturday, although most of them are competed outside of Grand Junction. I'm at least looking forward to cross country's race here in Grand Junction. We haven't seen a whole lot of action from them quite yet, so I'm curious on how they will perform.
I do look forward to watching. Now that we have wrapped up all the action from this week and given our closing thoughts, it is time to close the show. Thank you everyone so much for joining us this week on Maverick Postgame. I've been your host, Grace Metcalf.
And I've been Stone Quinn.
Be sure to go check out our channel 62.2 for more games and updates. We'll catch you next week on an all-new recap-packed episode of Maverick Postgame. Stay safe, Mavs, study hard, go to a game or two, and of course, have yourselves a Mesa amazing day.